This is PC747, and I'm talking about this week's topic on neXup. So, this week I want to talk about a couple of hot topics involving tech. Before I get started, I want to do a shout out to my brother, uh, DC. He wrote a good article on Loyola. You ought to check it out. He wrote it up, living up to the name. So he pretty much highlight the run of the Loyola basketball team and their run through the Sweet 16 onto the Final Four, and definitely got to check it out. Let's get started on my topics with tech. So let's talk about Chrome OS, and should we take it serious as a tablet contender? Now tablets, have pretty much phased out now. Apple dominated the market with the iPad, and rightfully so. Android tablets, they still had a lot to work on, and we could not get Android tablets where they needed to be to make it worth their while, especially now that you got phones getting bigger. It pretty much made tablets obsolete, at least on the Android side. But as we begin to start seeing Chrome OS flourish in more classrooms and so on, we're starting to come upon a rebirth of tablets in the form of Chrome OS. And my thoughts on that is, I feel like Chrome OS can make for a good tablet software, but it's not ready yet until we are able to fix the apps there. And what I mean by that is this: that listen, the one problem I have with Chrome OS right now is that they have not found a way to get all the apps to work properly, and it's going to be critical to get that to make the experience worthwhile. Now, it can't work. I can see devices like Asus coming out with a transformer-like tablet, and could take full advantage of this opportunity. In fact, I would actually look forward to Asus transformer Chromebook, where I can disconnect it from the dock and be able to utilize it as a tablet and connect it and use it as a Chromebook whenever I want to. But in order for us to really take advantage of it, Google's going to have to do a better job with the software to where it recognizes whether you're in Chrome mode or in tablet mode. And one way it can do that is, instead of having two different apps for the same feature, either have one app that you can either manually switch the option, to choose whether you want to have the Chromebook style of that app, or if you want to go to the tablet style. But I look forward to seeing how this goes and where we go from there. And that is 5G. And what costs are we willing to, pay to bring it to the market? Now, 5G it is essential for what we're looking to do with IoT, which is Internet of Things. As we are coming upon an age of more connected devices, whether it be assistant devices, TVs, refrigerators, cars, all of that is gearing us to a more connected society. And we're going to need a strong network that can power that. And that's where 5G is, being touted as being able to do, as being able to be the life force to connect all those together. And you're seeing a lot of carriers rushing to get that technology out there. AT&T, already have a small area that they're testing, for 5G. But someone asked a question. What are we going to give up just to bring that to the market? And so, going off this article written by Environmental Health Trust, they brought up a couple things that I think is worth discussing. The first thing, what it would take to bring that technology to the market, the towers that you would need, and where those towers have to be. That person reported that, in order for us to get 5G to where we want to, we may be looking at a tower on either every other house to, every 10 houses, depending on where you are in an urban area, could have to have a tower to support 5G. And how that will look, and how are we going to get those towers there? Are we going to have to pretty much violate people's rights and force those towers on the people? Or is it going to be one of those things where we allow it to be volunteer? And considering that, right now municipalities are in a rush to get 5G, it could be more of the former, where we are forcing, that on people's property. And yeah, that's something that really needs to be looked at. Because depending on what side of the tracks you are, it's going to be whether or not you're going to be able to fight that. Because, if you're someone who don't have the money to fight it and are being bullied by the government, then yeah, unfortunately for the everybody in society to benefit, you're going to see towers on your property that you paid for. But on the other side of the tracks, where they have the money to fight it, where they have people who, may be loud for them and be able to speak up for them, it's going to be, look, I don't want my rights treaded on, and I'm not going to have the government, forcing their way on me. And yeah, and they will be able to escape getting that put on their house. And that's going to be unfortunate for the others who don't have that same people that's going to fight for them. Especially looking at the other concern, the health concern behind it. Because this article pointed out how a similar technology was used in crowd control. And we are using that to possibly power our 5G network. And in doing so, we can see a lot of health issues that can come of that. And so, because the government is so much in a rush to push this, that they have not really tested it, they have not allowed for us to monitor how it affects humans, this could result in a lot of health issues later on in life for a lot of people. And that's a big concern for, those who, will be affected mostly by it, especially those who are like really, really close to that, those waves as they have towers above their houses. So that is something that we need to be concerned about, and that needs to be addressed before we rush 5G out there. Palm coming to the smartphone market again, or so it may be. There's a rumor that we could see Palm make another wave at trying to, join the smartphone market. Now, the last time we saw the Palm was with the Palm Pre. It was at a time when Motorola was the king of Android in the United States, and HTC was probably, you consider, the king of Android elsewhere. HTC was pretty much doing big, with their quality, brilliant monitor, and Samsung at the time, they was, just coming up with the Galaxy line. They weren't really being considered serious. BlackBerry was, starting to be pushed out, but they were still pretty strong, as they were the preferred device for business customers. But here we are now, and times have changed. BlackBerry is pretty much non-existent, except for the devices that they build on top of Android. Samsung is king. Apple still is dominating on their end. And here we are, Palm, looking to make waves here. And it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to bring this device to the market. Because they're going to need a very strong app market to be able to compete with Android and Apple. That's something that Windows figured out. They weren't able to get a strong enough app market, and they were pushed out. And if Palm is not able to have a strong enough app market, they will find themselves in the same situation. So that's something that they're going to have to look into and figure out. Now, they can go the route of BlackBerry and build on top of Android, but if they go that route, they're going to need to do a better job distinguishing themselves than what BlackBerry is doing, because if not, they're pretty much going to be in an already saturated market as it is. And you know what? People in this market want to see something fresh, and if all you're doing is bringing the same old thing, then you're going to quickly get, pushed out, and this comeback is going to be short-lived. So it's a new iPad worth it. So a couple days ago, Apple held a press conference that was geared more towards education, as they was unveiling their new iPad. $330. This was actually looking like an iPad that would appeal to people, as it was a cheaper version of it. Now, the reality is, it's pretty much a rebrand of iPad Mini, as that's pretty much what it is, with an Apple Pencil. Now, look, if you're someone who is in Apple ecosystem, you were looking for an iPad, this is for you. And this is pretty much the device you were going to buy anyway. So, yeah, look, go ahead and jump on board. This is pretty much the device you're looking for. But for everyone else that's, are not looking for an iPad, is looking for the best deal possible, this is not going to really be for you. With an iPad, you don't get the ability of expandable storage. So in order to really get a storage somewhat that's going to be able to sustain what you're trying to do, you're going to have to buy the most expensive version of it. And even so, in a couple of years, you're either going to have to delete some things or rely on the cloud. Whereas if you get something like a Chromebook, you have the ability to use expandable storage, and you have a keyboard that's there and available. So for those that are really looking for something for education, I would highly recommend you gravitate towards a Chromebook and save this device for someone who really want a tablet, because this is pretty much what it is. If you're looking for a tablet for watching movies on the airplane, this is for you. To my last two topics, the notch that everybody seems to want to put in their smartphones. Look, a couple of smartphone manufacturers out there are looking at this idea of copying Apple. And at the time when I read up about it on a couple of other places like Android Police and Droid Life and so on, I read it, decent article, and I moved on. I couldn't really think too much of it. But now that there's a possibility that LG and other manufacturers may be looking at this, I think it's time I kind of speak up and say, all right, look, just cut this out right now. We don't really need to copy Apple with this. Look, the notch design was Apple's way at combating how to deal with more screen, less bezel. But just because it was Apple's way, don't mean it's the only way. And I'm surprised that LG is even considering this, considering that they pretty much designed the Pixel 2 XL, which was another great way to do it. In fact, a better way to do it in my opinion, because you took advantage of the bezels that you had and brought front-facing speakers there. Something that anyone who had front-facing speakers would tell you was a great idea at continuing that idea and continuing with that. So LG, I don't even know why you even consider that. There's no need to. And for those companies out there even considering the somewhat of a notch idea, Apple is not the way I would suggest. If you're going to do something, at least copy off the Essential phone. They had a better idea on how to handle the notch. And I like the way they did it. Even though the Essential phone was not as popular as the iPhone, mainly as a result of their camera and then their software issues, but they did a better job with the notch. And I would highly recommend companies copy that versus Apple. Look, I can understand some of the smaller Android manufacturers maybe looking to copy Apple because they know who they are. They're trying to get those quick dollars for people who want something like the iPhone X, but no, they're not getting the iPhone X. But for other companies out there like LG and so on who's trying to who make their name in the market and trying to get more market shares and compete with the Samsung in the world, this is not how you do it. You don't do it by copying Apple. You do it by innovating and coming up with your own idea to challenge the market. Last topic to wrap it up. This has been a rough week for tech people out there. It's been kind of, when I say tech people, I mean tech companies. It's been kind of turbulent here, with Facebook dealing with the controversy that, their data was being used to get information for the last election without people's consent. Pretty much, there were a lot of political ads being driven off of data that was collected by Facebook. And it was given to a company out there. So this has caused a mistrust for a couple people out there, or actually a lot of people out there, and resulting on, Mark Zuckerberg having to answer for it on Capitol Hill. This, for me, is not the first time I've heard of Facebook dealing with an issue like this, or people bringing up the question of Facebook. I want to say back in 2011, they had people asking questions about how my phone, contact, and all that stuff is going to Facebook. Unbeknownst to them, especially those who had the Facebook app, their contact info and their phone number was being collected by Google, but they didn't know they were checking the box to allow that. Over the years, as we got more people more tech efficient and smarter on it, we have less of that to worry about. But yeah, when companies like Facebook are collecting your data and distribute it without your knowledge, it's something that does bring up a trust issue and challenges, what we do on our social networks. So, and then still talking about tech companies, you look at Uber. As a result of their autonomous vehicle, being involved in an accident that ended up killing a pedestrian. We saw this technology kind of being shelved for a little bit while, people investigate the cause of it. So This kind of obviously set that back a little bit while we try to figure out what's going on, how this managed to do that. This at a time when CES was excited about their autonomous vehicles and what it can bring, and there was a good reason for it, as we're looking at devices that can potentially help in a situation where drivers are tired or unaware, and technology come in to make sure that don't turn into a fatal accident. But until we get the technology and the software up to date where it can do the job that we expect it to do, unfortunately, we may see more issues like this, and hopefully we are able to get this resolved. Tesla, they're also in the news. Their Model 3, they have not been able to get those out like they're supposed to. There are a lot of people who pre-ordered that, and they haven't got their their cars, so they have an answer for that. And the other couple things they have an answer to for is the recall they're having. Over 123,000 cars are being Teslas, Model S are being recalled because of the power steering bolts having corrosion. And this corrosion was a result, many believe, as those that live up north dealing with the weather. This has been a bad winter for a lot of people, with all the salts on the road. That salt wasn't good for the hardware that was in place, and as a result, they're seeing corrosion that could result in failure of the power steering system. Tesla's currently dealing with that and trying to get that resolved as soon as possible through volunteer recalls. Now, at the same time, this is going to cost Tesla a lot of money in getting that resolved, as well as cause concern for people who are looking to invest in their vehicles. And the other thing, or final thing that is on their mind, is this NTSB investigation as a result of a Model X involved in a fatal crash in California. They're looking into whether the autopilot system was a result of this crash, as the autopilot system was being used. With again, we're looking at another vehicle where technology is supposed to be aiding in driving, resulting in a fatality, and this is not really looking good for the industry as a whole, because we're really looking forward to having technology step in, and like I said earlier, and be a help to this, and until we're able to fix these problems, it's actually going to cause people to actually migrate from that. But it's going to be interesting to see what we find out from both of these instances and how we go on from there. Now, Google, they're having their own issues to deal with, as they just lost a patent suit to Oracle. This suit could result in them losing $8 billion, and it's involving pretty much the app development being built upon Java, which is Oracle's property. And there's been a debate for a while, that since 2012, whether or not this is something that was fair use or a violation of someone's intellectual property. And for right now, the judge is ruling in favor of Oracle. Now, Google is appealing this ruling, but it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. And lastly, I got to talk about Amazon. Out of all the companies in the news right now, they're probably the one that's I have the least to be concerned about. For one, they're in the news because President Trump decided to take a shot at them, feeling like, hey, look, they're not paying enough taxes, and they're hurting retailers out there. Now, look, I'm not about getting political with any of my articles or anything I do as far as with neXup, and I'm not going to. It's not going to be a political topic. But this is something I have to say for Amazon. I think out of all the other companies, I won't really be worried about. For one, Amazon is providing a service that people want, and they've been looking for this service for a while. There are a lot of people who, on the go, and they look forward to Amazon because they're able to get their shipment to them in a timely manner. For those who can always get to certain places to get certain things, this is very helpful. So, hey, they provide a good service, and they continue to evolve. And it is what it is. Unfortunately, for companies like Toys R Us and Sears and all that are finding themselves, losing business because of Amazon. Amazon, found a way to take advantage of technology and and providing the service that people wanted. And yeah, you can't really fault them for that. Just as you can fault Redbox's streaming services for resulting in Blockbusters not being around. So yeah, so for companies out there, people that are, having complaints about this, look, I understand, I hear the complaints, and, I can see some of the things you're bringing up. I mean, you make some good points, but I'm not quite ready to fault Amazon yet. I mean, to hear that Walmart former CEO is saying the government should split up Amazon for destroying jobs, and I kind of find it ironic considering, Walmart was met with the same scrutiny for going into towns and shutting down a lot of mom and pop businesses because of their low cost stuff. So, but look, Amazon right now is hot right now. They're providing a good service, but even in Amazon, over time there's gonna be somebody that's gonna kill them. So that's the way the business works, the market works. Whoever provides the service and provide it at a better cost to the customer, at the end of the day, they end up winning, and that's part of their free market society. But hey, I mean, right now, Amazon, I look forward to seeing how they, go about responding to this, and hopefully they will get their issue with Google resolved so that I can buy Google devices on the Amazon Play Store. But until then, we'll have to see what happens next. This is PC747. Is going down real quick on some of the top topics for the week. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on which you felt about some of the topics I brought up and what are your opinions. I'm out.